Hey you, welcome back to the channel. And Bitcoin criminal mastermind, the real Satoshi Nakamoto. Um, Recently, well, over the last month or so ago, I guess, something woke up in me once again. This Satoshi business, who's Satoshi, and the connection between Satoshi and Craig Wright. Um, I mean, the timing was uncanny because, as we could see shortly after that, and we got a little bit into that content. And I think I went into it before Craig Wright even filed the copyright. Yeah, I did. I started, something just woke up in me and said, hey, let's take a look at this again. And then soon we start getting the copyright claims made by Craig Wright after that, shortly after. And then now we have what some believe to be compelling evidence that we have found who Satoshi really is. And he seemingly is some criminal mastermind, something like you get out of a comic book like Lex Luthor. So just some very interesting, strange at the same time developments in Bitcoin, right? Now, this is what I want to say that I know it's a lot of people love Bitcoin, love this space a great deal, and every time they hear negative news, they seemingly fastly jump to FUD or something to hurt the space. And those aren't my intentions at all. What I'm trying to do here, the channel we put together, education. That's the first word in the title. It's the education entertainment television show, right? And our job is to do those things, educate, try to give information, real tools that we need to possibly navigate this space in a way that we're more healthy in it, and it's a more healthy space. And what I found out about anonymity is sometimes hurtful things come out of anonymity, and sometimes you hear things that you might not like. Also, what I want to say is that remember, we're into this, many of us, for the technology. There is something very important about blockchain technology going forward into the future. And whoever and whatever contributed to this contribution is a good thing for mankind. But we didn't get into this to fall in love with any particular cryptocurrency, right? This isn't the cryptocurrency X fanboy club. This isn't this coin goes to the moon or bust channel. This isn't a tribalism based channel. This is a channel where hopefully we give you all the tools to make choices that help your cryptocurrency lives and wallets. And whatever that means is what we're going to try to educate on in the direction we're trying to go in, right? When I started Bitcoin MYK, which is I think to be a better system, it's going to be a better blockchain in some aspects than Bitcoin. We want to make it clear that we want to work with Bitcoin and that Bitcoin holders would always be able to get this cryptocurrency free, because we're very much tired of this new cryptocurrency jumps up without working on the existing infrastructure. And now we got to move our wealth once again, and our value and our other cryptocurrencies lose that value for something else. That's why with our project, we don't put you through all that. That's why we're saying if you're a Bitcoin holder, you get our project free. But I say all that to say this. If it turns out to be true, which people are really starting to believe, people who I didn't even think would believe this, that people like Craig Wright and criminal masterminds who have been responsible, we're finding out, for assassinations, murders, drugs, killings, deaths, and all types of things. And then we have Craig Wright, who a lot of people just can't stand the sight of this person. And every time he speaks, they just want him out of this cryptocurrency space. If all this is true, we potentially would have these two figures pretty much controlling a lot of the concept up to now is what the cryptocurrency space has been about. Because remember, these guys will control a great amount of Bitcoin. They can manipulate Bitcoin. They could crash Bitcoin. They could do whatever they want, provided that they're able to go forward with this and the truth comes out. And I always said before this that it's hard to keep secrets. Governments is hard to keep secrets. We couldn't even keep Eric Snowden's mouth shut. Look at Assange, how he has secrets. They finally had to go and arrest him, right, and all of that because he was telling the truth because they couldn't keep these things secret. Now, one of the most threatening things to a government is their money. We have systems like Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies that can now challenge that. And I think the government's been pretty calm about it, right? They've been pretty treating it pretty nonchalant and easy. And that's driven a lot of us to speculate that is because the government has always known who's been at the helm and at the top of these things and who's been responsible for these things, right? It seems that a lot of this is going to start, more information is coming out and slowly but surely. And I'm getting more optimistic we're going to finally get to the truth of this. But let's talk about this new possible Satoshi, who really goes by the name of Paul Satoshi, the creator of encryption software E4M and TrueCrypt, which are supposedly the precursors and the progenitors of Bitcoin. So Paul Satoshi Caldera Leroux, a 46-year-old criminal mastermind, not just a criminal, a mastermind, Lex Luthor, right out of comic books, is the creator of an encryption software E4M and TrueCrypt, the cryptography encryption software Satoshi Nakamoto likely used to lock up his 1 million Bitcoin, and author of an uncannily similar manifesto to that one in Bitcoin's white paper in 1998. So this isn't a figure like Craig Wright. This is a figure that speaks and acts almost exactly like the Satoshi that many have speculated Satoshi should sound like. But that's not all. Paul Satoshi Caldera Leroux employs similar spelling and language in his writing style to that of Satoshi. He's interested in gambling. Bitcoin's initial code had a poker client intended. And what's more, he's been in jail since 2012. That's probably the reason why his 1 million Bitcoin hasn't moved, right? Interesting enough, maybe this kind of as well addresses why gambling apps are the more dominant, successful applications in blockchain cryptocurrency. Maybe because the original Satoshi liked gambling, or set up and is more lends itself more geared toward this type of things. On top of that, the documents included in his article show a connection of Craig Wright to Paul Satoshi. Sounds like a 007 movie. Absolutely does. And it also speaks volumes to why Craig Wright has kept pushing this thing. Even when I did my Craig Wright videos that I think got a lot of people thinking, and a lot of people coming in saying Craig Wright was Satoshi. I think it makes a lot more sense that Craig Wright's body language during a lot of the interviews, whereas I look at him and just go sometimes, this guy couldn't be Satoshi, but he knows a great deal. So he's either part of it some kind of way or he's trying to usurp the title. But it would make sense that he's connected, to this, that he was one of the people in the room, as I always thought. And let's start from the beginning. The identity of Satoshi Nakamoto, the synonymous, pseudonymous, and enigmatic creator of Bitcoin, is perhaps the most enduring, mysterious, or enduring mysteries of modern times. It's long been speculated as to who he, she, or they are, but to no avail. The long-standing mystery remains. There have been a number of theories and candidates as to who Nakamoto really is, some of whom are even self-nominated like Craig Wright, the man known as Fake Toshi, or his bold claims. Wright has courted controversy by claiming to be the creator of Bitcoin, which has led to multiple lawsuits and court hearings. One such court case, Kleiman versus Wright, has surfaced new evidence in the form of a Wikipedia page which was not redacted, which oddly enough points to a new Satoshi candidate and is not right. Who's the new Satoshi Nakamoto candidate? Yes, the newfound Satoshi candidate is Paul Satoshi Calder Leroux, a 46-year-old former cartel boss, drug smuggler, arms dealer, informant to the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, and genius programmer. So let's stop right there. Maybe the reason the United States government wasn't so worried about dangers to the currency system, right, was because they already knew who Satoshi was. That would make a lot more sense to me. That would make a great deal more sense to me, and it started to make a lot more sense to everybody else. As seen from Leroux's Wikipedia page, the man lived an eventful life with a career that included gold smuggling, precious metals and mining, logging, land deals, drug and arms trafficking, money laundering, assassinations, encryption software development, and more. So somebody like Leroux, Satoshi, I would imagine he would see blockchain technology as something necessary for his business, right, to a great degree, because he probably in the beginning of it was looking at it as ways to conduct, this type of business and hide it, right, and transfer large sums of money. Also stated on Leroux's Wikipedia page, Leroux is currently in U.S. custody for ordering the assassinations of 6 people. Some readers may already be familiar with Leroux's life story as it was presented in a series on activists along with a book titled The Mastermind. An excerpt summarizing the publication states he was a brilliant programmer and a vicious cartel boss who became a prized U.S. government asset. Oh my goodness. Apart from Leroux's life as a cartel boss, he was also a brilliant programmer who created E4M and open source free Windows disencryption software program. So this guy's kind of sounds a little bit more different than Craig Wright. He does sound a lot more like how Satoshi would sound, right? And Craig sounds more like, he would run Bitcoin as just a business, and it was continue to be the rich get richer, and just this very capitalistic model that doesn't fit with a lot of the romanticism of Bitcoin. And I think this guy here, he might have a different take on it, but he created the open source TrueCrypt disk cryptography package, which is based on E4M's code. How did a man of this nature with an extensive criminal background and some impressive programming contributions under his belt come to be tied to Craig Wright's court case and suspected to be Satoshi Nakamoto? Let's delve into the evidence. The Kleiman versus Wright lawsuit and ties pointed to Paul Leroux. Self-proclaimed Satoshi Craig Wright is being sued by the Kleiman family on accusations that Wright defrauded and stole over $11 billion worth of Bitcoin and hard drives from the now deceased Dave Kleiman, a noted computer forensics expert who's suspected by some to be Satoshi Nakamoto. Wright and Kleiman were business partners until Kleiman died in 2013. The lawsuits that's unfolding in Florida courts has been filled with bizarre theories, misdirections, forgeries, and mistruths, which were often presented by the defendant, Dr. Craig Wright. Among the bizarre things brought forth by Wright is document 187, Dr. Craig Wright's motion for protective order. According to Wright, some of the evidence that supports he is Satoshi and that the $11 billion worth of Bitcoins is his own includes sensitive information about his ties to criminals and his involvements in their apprehension and incarceration. Wow. So it looks like maybe through some situation, Craig Wright and maybe this Satoshi guy got involved. And is it that Craig Wright worked with the authorities to basically have him apprehended and incarcerated? Oh, wow. Sounds very dangerous and Quite interesting. Therefore, document 187 has been recorded, redacted, so that the criminals included in the document will not learn of Wright's involvement with their arrest and seek repercussions against him. But it would seem that they would know now. However, unfortunately for Wright, whoever was redacted document failed to black out one of the corresponding footnotes that identifies the criminal kingpin in question as Paul LaRue. Wow. Ah. Wow. I don't know if well, it's more. It's a lot more to this. But I think we got the gist of this, right? Where this is headed here. I'm going to leave a link to the article so you guys can continue on with this. I've reviewed some of it, a good portion of it. But I was already kind of moving in this direction with it because, I've always been in camp that something this big, a technology this big, a secret this big, I just had a hard time believing it could remain secret and anonymous. Wow, Craig Wright, if this is true, he might be in a little danger here and some trouble. This thing could get out of hand. $11 billion is a lot of money, from the climate estate. Oh man, it seems like they're somebody's trying to get this money, right? So where does this put the space? I mean, does this change a lot of you guys' minds about cryptocurrency? You know what's kind of scary for me? I spent the last few years defending the cryptocurrency space. With 90% of the people I've come in contact with saying it sounds like it's criminal, right? Sounds fraudulent. It sounds scammy. And I'm sure many of you have been in very similar situations where you felt that very weird feeling about trying to tell people about the cryptocurrency space and educate them about it because of fear of things like this. And it's seeming it's starting to come full circle. And it's starting to begin to me to feel like Bitcoin was started and will probably end up being controlled by criminal masterminds. They would have so much cryptocurrency that they could great deal of control and manipulation over something like Bitcoin. And that's scary for me personally to think about. I don't like it. I don't like it. I'm even looking at stuff like Bitcoin Cash. I don't like that. Now, blockchain technology is the holy grail, right? But we have to separate blockchain technology from what we get in some individual cryptocurrencies. And it seems like Bitcoin is being marked and branded in a similar way to many cryptocurrencies that have been headed up by criminals and controlled by criminals and busted, and the criminals taken off to prison, as many of these cryptocurrencies. There have been many conspiracy theories about Bitcoin being controlled by groups and entities and banks and a lot of other things, a lot of other details that don't make a lot of us rest very easy. So what should we do? Well, the good thing about the cryptocurrency space, and as much as people have hated forks, I've always said that forks are like amendments, right? If you think of something like the Constitution of the United States. And just because there is a fork does not necessarily mean that the fork is bad or bad for the space. I think in a particular situations like this, where we could possibly be faced with something as catastrophic as this, that forks might present a solution to that. The project I'm working on now, BitcoinMYK.com, it is a project that puts people in democratic control of their Bitcoin-like value. If you hold Bitcoin, you don't have to buy a cryptocurrency. You get it just by holding Bitcoin. You don't have to worry about it being a scam or taking money from you or anything like that. All you have to do is purchase Bitcoin, if you feel that way and you get our cryptocurrency free, as we see blockchain technology and networks as the real value, not speculation, not gambling games, and not casinos, which is how the cryptocurrency space works. Our value lies in users to our network. That is how we rank our value. Heading to continue to be the harbinger of bad news with Bitcoin and maybe the sustainability of Bitcoin, and us having to rethink possibly how we look at Bitcoin maybe after some of these latest developments. I want to roll on to another article where a hotshot venture capitalist talks about the possibilities of Bitcoin going to $500. So this Uber angel investor goes by the name of Jason Calacanis, predicts that the Bitcoin price will fall to $500. You know what's interesting about this article is, I too predicted that the price of Bitcoin would not fall to $500. I was a lot more generous. I said $800. So, should we put any stock in this? So, and I'm not going to go through my whole spiel about how I came up with an $800 Bitcoin, but I always try to give a little bit about my background, just a little bit, and when I, talk about certain things, if I think it's relative to some of the material. And I've always said that the investment business, Wall Street, venture capitalist firms have always been connected close to cryptocurrency, right? A lot of venture capitalist funds are responsible for a lot of money that comes in through cryptocurrency. We oftentimes think about it maybe as our friends' money, our grandmother's money, our guy down the street money, and it's like this grassroots thing. But no, a lot of this money has come from venture capitalist firms. And I work for several investment firms, and I started off as a stockbroker. I was a commodities broker. I got into real estate after that. Let me tell you a little bit about how venture capitalist firms works, right? Let's kind of compare it to the military. If you were a foot soldier in the military, right? You probably heard of things like Navy SEALs, the Delta Force, the Green Berets, and all of that. These special forces units that are kind of on the next level of where your standard military people are. That's what venture capitalists are like. These generally these aren't your standard people who got a job at an investment firm, sitting at a desk somewhere just trading stocks and bonds. These are generally people who have put together deals for startup companies. And when I left the investment business for a time, I did go into venture capital firms. Right, I worked for one, and I could tell you that it was a different experience and a lot of brilliant people in that. And I'm saying all that to say this, that generally when people in that area make statements like this, it's usually backed up by a lot of research. And they've done, there are some exceptions. There are some people who, and I'm assuming that he's already invested in cryptocurrency, but we're going to read a little bit of the article. If he's a venture capitalist who's invested in cryptocurrencies and he's calling predictions like that, I think it's a lot more sound. But let's just read a little bit about it and see what's going on here. So the Bitcoin price will likely fall anywhere between $0 to $500 in the future, according to Jason Calacanis. The prominent venture capitalist said on Wednesday that the world's largest cryptocurrency operates in a manipulated market. He further discussed the possibility of a new emerging technology replacing Bitcoin that would eventually hurt its long-term fundamentals as an asset. So let's stop right there. See, guys, it's just like I just said. This is somebody who knows cryptocurrency and happens to be a venture capitalist. So that means he's probably going to be funding cryptocurrency projects, right? But look what he says here. It's what I've been saying all along and why I made that $800 Bitcoin prediction. He talks about it operates in this manipulated market. We now got people like possibly Satoshi could possibly claim billions in Bitcoin, and we got Craig Wright who might win the lawsuit. Who knows? And it hurts his long-term fundamentals as an asset. I can't say he's wrong in this. You know, my professional opinion, I'm thinking the exact same way as this guy's thinking. Right now, again, the only difference is he's saying $500, I'm saying $800, but let's continue on. It's possible Bitcoin is built to last, but not probable. So keep your position to an amount you're willing to lose, suggested Calacanis. For most, that's 1 to 5% of the net worth. My position remains the same. Bitcoin will likely be replaced by a new technology and it's manipulated. Listen, I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. And, you know, I understand, you know, how many of you all feel who put so much into this space. But, and it hurts sometimes to hear things like this, but my professional opinion is he sounds pretty much on par with how I'm looking at this. Let me tell you something. There are new algorithms out or that are being worked on that are coming out that possibly will replace proof of work. You know, we know proof of work to be the best, you know, method in cryptocurrency to use right now. But keep in mind, bear in mind, there are hybrids out there. There could be just something totally different that happens, right? Maybe we'll use something with quantum computing. I have no idea. But I think the future is singing a song that if Bitcoin continues on like it is, and a lot of people in Bitcoin Core want it to, that it is not going to be a very useful, resilient, practical system in the future, right? So the statement appeared in the wake of growing buying sentiment noted lately in the Bitcoin spot market. So this is done in the last part of May. So this is before we just had this recent large dip in Bitcoin. The asset, which has slipped more than 70% last year after establishing a historic high at circa $20,000, made one of the most significant comebacks ever seen in both nascent and traditional markets. Bitcoin's rate in the U.S. dollar markets posted a maximum rebound of 186% in just 163 days. Calacanis argued much of the Bitcoin bullish bias that sent prices skyrocketing, predicting that early holders would exit their positions at suitable peak formations while leaving the new bag holders behind. So he's talking about this very pyramid-like feel, right, with Bitcoin. It's possible that the early holders will clear their positions to a new group of global refugee seekers, making it built to last, said Calacanis. I put that at more than 30% right now. Energy consumption, hacking, regulation, and a better version are likely negative scenarios. I bundle those at 70%. And so the Bitcoin community reacts. I'm not going to read that. I'm going to let you guys react to some of what's being said here. But so far from what I've read, again, this sounds quite the case to me. It sounds plausible. Let me read this because it says fundamental support Bitcoin. While one cannot predict where the Bitcoin price would eventually land, the majority of fundamental factors appear on the bullish side. The cryptocurrency witnessed a renewed wave of buying sentiment. Yeah, but that's going down. And we got these financial firms they're speaking of. But what happens when a new technology comes about that's more efficient? They're going to jump ship too. Yeah, this is all very interesting. So my take on this has been Bitcoin has always needed to exist in relation to a useful social based network. And we've done that with Bitcoin MYK. Why is that so important? Because the usefulness of this and the integration of this, we get to ascertain and grow our value and demand based on the people using it through the social media aspect of it, coupled with the cryptocurrency portion of it, similar to what you might get with Facebook Global Coin, right? The difference being, whereas Facebook Global Coin fundamentally should work awesome on paper, at the very root of what cryptocurrency was about for many of us, it's about lack of centralization, right? It's about decentralization. So we would need the decentralization factor. But what could be more decentralized than democracy? And that's what we get in Bitcoin NYK. We get where everybody equally across the board gets to affect what happens to this network. We don't get that full range of democracy in Bitcoin because it's minoritized and it's centralized by developers and miners. And we're not talking about perfection here. We know we're going to have some give and takes with this new emerging technology. But as Calacanis is saying, it's only a matter of time before somebody figures out a system that can do these things that are going to probably be better than Bitcoin. And at this point in time and at this early stage, I would say that's more likely than not. And with all the other developments in Bitcoin, I just don't know how far the future for Bitcoin is going to go. I'm still going to stay at base my research on a $800 Bitcoin. I'm going to let Calacanis keep his $500 Bitcoin. But that's all I got to say in this video. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts and opinions on this very important information and very possibly game-changing information for the cryptocurrency space. But that's all I want to say. Don't forget to join BitcoinNYK.com. It belongs to you all. It's free to you all. All you need to do is sign up, get started using it today. That's all we want to say in this video. And until next time, take care.